Are you ready to feel more emotionally secure, to heal ancestral lineages, and to find comfort in your home? Well, that's good because that's the era we're in right now. Hi everyone, my name's Therese Tucker and this is Karma Cards, and this week we're going to be talking about Jupiter moving into the sign of Cancer. Now Jupiter moved into Cancer on June 9th and will be hanging out there until next June in 2026. Jupiter is the planet of expansion, of good fortune. It has to do with wisdom and truth, and it's exalted in the sign of Cancer, which means that it's going to be most active in this sign. It feels really good when Jupiter is in Cancer. And even though Jupiter in Cancer is going to affect each of us differently, there are some major themes that are going to affect us all. So Jupiter is one of the outer planets. It's one of 5 planets that is changing position in the year of 2025. It's number 4, if you will. So we've got one more planet to go, but this one just happened recently. So in this episode of Karma Cards, I want to dig into how we're going to feel the effect of Jupiter in Cancer and how it's pairing with our recent move with Saturn into Aries, which was all about responsibility around the identity, letting go of the false, and moving into the authentic personality. And how is Jupiter going to help us do that? I also have a message from my spirit team, and we'll hear what the Karma Cards have to say about the energy of this week. So stay tuned. When Jupiter is in the sign of Cancer, we are invited to expand inward, because Cancer rules our inner world rather than the focus on the outer expansion, although we will feel it in our home space. So whether your home space is simply about your sanctuary, or if you do more in your home, such as study or have a business, you're going to feel a sense of expansion there. So a few weeks ago, when Saturn moved into Aries, we may have felt a little bit of a heaviness, a weight come in as we were feeling the energy of who am I? What am I really? What am I all about? And Saturn wanting us to get down to work and uncover this. So get rid of anything that is out of alignment and get into true alignment with who we really are. And that can feel like a heavy task, and many people have felt a dismantling. But hot on the heels of that Saturn transformation came the Jupiter transformation, which brings us a wave of healing and grace. What this means is that even though we're going to have to do some deep work on our sense of self, we get to do it with a sense of emotional security and a little bit more of protection. So Jupiter being in Cancer, Cancer is the sign of the crab. The crab talks about that protective shell. And that protective shell is our home, right? So our home is an extension of our energy, and our home literally acts like a shell around us. So we're going to find that our home really starts to feel like a sanctuary. And if it doesn't right now, it's probably going to be one of your top tasks while Jupiter is here, is really making your home feel like a safe space for you. So where Saturn really wants us to mature and be the person that we say we are, Jupiter is going to show us how to mature, not through force, but through softening. It's all about the emotional healing aspects, allowing ourselves to feel our feelings, be better at setting boundaries with family and friends, and learning how to become the caretaker we never had. You start to realize with Jupiter in Cancer that your home is literally holding you. So we're all looking for that feeling of being held and supported, and we start to recognize this space around you that you're holding is your home. Now your home, there's a difference between the house or the building and the home, right? The building is definitely like a shell, but it's your energy that expands. When we're in our personal space, that energy that is within us starts to expand around us. It's why when you walk into someone's home, personal space, you really feel the shift in atmosphere. It's always different. And if you haven't noticed that before, you're going to start noticing it now. Every space you move into, the atmosphere is different. Why? Because it's literally the internal state of the person expanding out around them. That's why it feels so good to come back home. We might enjoy going away on trips or vacations, but it always feels good to come back home because it's a frequency match to our internal state. Cancer rules over ancestry, our past, and that can go as far back as your early childhood to many, many generations that have come before you. So with Jupiter here in the sign of Cancer, we get a beautiful healing energy. As you heal yourself, there is an expansion, and it expands in two directions. As you take better care of yourself, you are literally helping to heal the lineage that came before you. Maybe those who wanted to take better care of themselves but could not for whatever reason. As we do it for ourselves, we also do it for our line. But as we do it for ourselves here, we become the healthy ancestor to our future line. So it has a ripple effect in both directions. Now this is where it gets to my favorite part. Cancer's ruler is the moon, and moon represents our feeling state and intuition, which are some of Cancer's natural strengths. And when you add Jupiter to it, Jupiter acts like a magnifying glass that expands these things. So our feelings are easier to access and understand, and our intuition widens. And because intuition is going to be the access point for this energy, it activates our right hemisphere. Our right hemisphere is where we feel a sense of faith. And because feeling is expanded, faith, or the things that you cannot see, but you choose to believe in, you start to get almost a tactile feeling about it, right? It's not a literal material sensation, but the feeling has more depth here thanks to the influence of Jupiter in this area. So you might notice that your faith in things, the things that you believe in, that you have to choose to believe rather than to know through logic, it starts to feel more solid during this window of time. If all this sounds wonderful to you and you want to utilize this energy, here are a few ways that we can work with it. Number one, your home. Remember, home is the energy that's radiating off of you that fills a space, right? So we can move into strengthening our home energy from two directions. We can come out from the external physical world or the internal spiritual world, which either direction that you work on this in, it affects the other, which I absolutely love. So if you feel like what would help make your home more of a sanctuary is to honor the outside, right? The external world, maybe doing some deep cleaning or rearranging or simplifying of your space. That is going to help strengthen that internal energy, make it feel brighter and more present in your space. However, if you're like, no, I've done all that, and there's not a lot for me to do there, that means you can work on it from the internal direction and really think about how you're radiating this energy. Right? When we are allowing ourselves to feel what we authentically feel, we are more radiant. We are not blocked. We're flowing. So notice which one feels like it's calling to you more and expand in that direction, and you'll feel it in the external and the internal world. Another way to really work with this energy is to honor softness. A lot of times when we're trying to grow and move forward, we get this sense that we need to push. And the energy here is the exact opposite. It's asking you to allow, to recognize. Often where we think we want to be, we might already be in that zone, but we can't see it because we're pushing towards an expectation. When we stop and look around and take in, and that's activating our divine feminine energy, which is really strong with this placement. When we're taking it in and we are allowing, we might notice that we're already where we want to be. If we're trying to become more secure and we're always working towards that, but we're never stopping to notice where we are, we might find that we're more secure than we thought we were. It's really about letting go of a mindset of a destination and allowing yourself to be. This is a time for us to really do the inner child work, and that's the third way that we can really honor this energy. There is a lot about ancestral healing and in our own lives that can start with our early childhood. And many of the things that we're holding on to, our patterns of behavior, the way we're trying to protect ourselves, comes from early childhood interpretations of what's going to keep us safe, what's going to keep us loved and protected. So it is a good time to slow down and look at if there's a pattern that you're holding. If you keep repeating a behavior and it's not bringing you the outcome you want, there's a good chance it's become sabotage, but it didn't start that way. Many times our patterns that we're holding started out as protection mechanisms. And if we can stop and take a moment and follow the line of this behavior back to its start point, we might find our inner child is holding this notion that if I make sure everybody else's needs are met, then I will be safe, as an example. So take a look around at your own patterns, and instead of being frustrated or upset with yourself or determined to cut them off, slow down and have curiosity about, how did this start? Did I always think like this? Or was there a reason? Could this have served me in some way in my early childhood? And as we do that work, it's easier to unravel those patterns. And finally, food can help. And this one is a tricky thing to say, because we can have negative patterns around food. We can get into things like emotional eating, and that's not what this is about. It's really about honoring what goes into your body, connecting through food as a healing medicinal source, as a source of nurturing rather than a source of escapism. And you might be able to do that through considering, as you're making food for your family, really pouring your heart and love into that food. That's something I try to do from time to time. I don't always remember, but when I do, it's really powerful because your family can feel that. Even if it's just food you're making for yourself, if you stop and intend love in the food, that's a great way to honor this energy. Other ways is to maybe recipes that have been handed down generation to generation. As you are making it, sending love to the person who gave you that recipe, and possibly many lines back to the people who passed it down to them, as a way of connecting with them and honoring and remembering them, but also sending that loving energy. It's all about the nourishing, healing aspect of food. So actually being more present and connected to it. So those are some great ways to work with Jupiter in Cancer. And that brings me to the message I have from the team. And I snuck it in to how this is all working out, but I want to bring it back because this is a pattern. I think we're going to feel a little bit of a push-pull energy with a feeling of needing to get down to work. That's that Saturn and Aries energy that's very dominant and strong, and this very loving, nurturing. It's like dad and mom, if you will, energy here. The way forward right now is not through pushing or forcing or judging or criticism. The way forward is through softening and allowing and holding. So often we're in a hurry to change things and make them better. And in the process of doing that, even though our intention is good, it's like, I want to be in a better space, I want to have a better life, we are completely ignoring what's there. And oftentimes there are many answers for us in what we're already inside of. So instead of looking at where you are in this space and being frustrated or harsh or critical with yourself, it's a time to soften and love yourself and say, this isn't easy. And you've done a really good job. You are, give yourself at least 3 points of appreciation. I appreciate you showing up and trying. I appreciate you wanting to heal. I appreciate you taking the time to be more conscious. These are some examples that you could give yourself of appreciation. And then instead of judgment, it's curiosity. We soften to the situation and hold ourselves So often what we need is a feeling of being held. And we can do that for ourselves. And there's a couple ways you could do it. You could imagine holding a younger version of yourself in your arms, if that helps. That's helped me several times, especially when I feel it's a younger version of me that's in pain. But even just acknowledging that you wish to grow, you wish for things to be better for yourself, and that you're actively trying, whether you feel like you're successful at it or not. You are actively trying and taking the space to be there with yourself, where you're at, and fully accepting yourself is one of the most loving and healing acts you can do. Now, this doesn't mean we won't have work to do, but it's so much easier to do this work when we feel nurtured, held, and supported. And so this is a call to give yourself the opportunity to be held, to be okay right where you're at, and to know that you are seen, even if it's just by you. That's the most important pair of eyes to have on you, is to see yourself, not see yourself in a negative light, not constantly trying to push yourself towards something better, but to recognize that whatever you're going through right now, it might actually be really tough, and that you're showing up, and that's amazing. When we get that kind of validation and support from ourselves, it makes taking the next steps so much easier. And with that, let's look at the message from this week's Karma card. Right? If you're new to Karma cards, let me quickly show you how these work. I have 3 decks here: planets, signs of the zodiac, and the houses of astrology. And I've already asked my team, what is the message for this week? And I've got 2 sets of answers, a set in red, which are action related, and a set in blue, which are outcome related. And the way that you play is you tune in with that beautiful intuition of yours and feel what is the guidance you need right now. Are you looking for action-related guidance, or are you interested to see how things resolve over the week? And of course, you can always choose both. And while you are choosing, let me tell you the timing for this reading. This reading is for June 14th through June 21st, which happens to be the summer solstice. And the flavor of this reading, well, we've got the moon, which is the ruler of Cancer. So we know this is about feeling, it's about intuition, it's about getting in touch with your internal state. In the sign of Pisces, which is about our ideals, it's also a very feeling sign. It's about our big dreams as well. In the 10th house, which is the house that deals with often career or what we're putting out in the world, it also has to do with our public standing, our reputation, and it's ruled by Capricorn, which means there's a lot about personal responsibility in there as well. All right, for those who are choosing action, your spiritual action at this time is to defend your dreams responsibly. Everything that's going on right now is absolutely about your destiny. It's about the highest potential for you. And I'm talking to all these planetary shifts that we're going through, this transformation that we're under in the midst of, the timelines healing themselves. All of these things that are going on are actually for our highest good as a species. It's for our evolution. So what is best for you is definitely being considered and a part of that, right? So as we're thinking about all these things that we have to grow and shift, all the healing that's being asked of us, and it seems like we're like always healing, but we're preparing ourselves to become the version that we are. So there's where we have to be responsible. It's like this is all in preparation for that higher timeline, higher ideal, the best version of life. And as we are doing this, we are accelerating that process. So recognize that this isn't about you putting aside what you dream for your life to be, especially when the team's like, hey, take a moment and just be where you are. It's not about putting that aside. It's really about that's going to help you get there, right? When we are building this foundation, not on shaming the past parts of ourselves or shaming ourselves for where we are, we're doing it through love and acceptance of where we are. That's the brick, the strong foundation that we want to build. So it is through love and acceptance that we build this more authentic, more healed version of ourselves. Mental action at this time: accept your idealization of success. Idealization, the highest version. Even accept the fact that you're trying to push yourself into the next version of you. So this is so interesting. They're like, there's so many layers here, right? So they're saying, don't push yourself and dismiss where you're at. Honor that space, but also honor the fact that you are pushing yourself. Okay, guys, it's a lot. It really is about looking around, and it's even the fact that you're pushing yourself is not something to shame yourself for. Even the shame you feel is not something to dismiss. It's like anything that's happening, we're trying to be in a space of holding right now. That's that energy that Jupiter and Cancer can do. It's a vast containment unit. It can hold us, and it teaches you how to hold you. And so it really is this, every time you feel the harshness or the edges, every time you feel that hard edge, like, I can't behave like this, I've got to stop thinking that way, I need to do this thing, that's a hard edge. And they're like, soften. Accept, okay, there's my hard edge. I love you, hard edge. Thank you for the growth that you're trying to encourage, right? But soften. For some of us, this is going to feel weird at first. You might be so used to your hard edges, and you might even be proud of those hard edges. Like, I push, right? I hustle. I force. I assert, right? I totally understand that energy. You might be really proud of that and be like, I'm a badass. Yes, you are. Love it. Soften. Love and soften. Yes, badass. Thank you for being a part of me. And I soften here. And it's okay in this moment that I'm here. Because remember, these are foundational steps. You won't stay here forever. But it's got to be built on something strong. And the strongest thing you can build on is love, right? That love and acceptance energy. That's a beautifully strong foundation. Building it on pressure, building it on shame or guilt, building it on a lack of feeling worthy. This is like building on sand. It doesn't hold us. And so at this moment, it's like every part of you is a brick, and the thing that's holding it together is the love and acceptance you have for yourself. Physical action at this time: let your feelings tell you how to be a part of something overwhelming and become a person of power and status. Okay, so let's break this down. The thing that's overwhelming that's happening is this ascension transformation energy, whether you're aware of it or not. Of course, if you're watching, you are aware. But even if we weren't, that's overwhelming. It's happening. We're in a radioactive field. Try to control the sun, right? Try to control all the planetary output. Can't do that. So we're already a part of this overwhelming change. To become a person of power and status. Now, if we hear that in a 3D term, it sounds like we're going to go become part of the 1% or part of the top or win at Monopoly, right? That's what it sounds like from that level. But if we're feeling it from the higher levels of consciousness, the power we're talking here is that internal strength. And that's built on the foundation of love and acceptance for yourself, for all parts. No part gets left behind, right? Everything I see, I accept and I love. Doesn't mean I don't transform, doesn't mean I don't grow, but I accept it and I love it. There's my power. The status has to do with the elevation we create. The elevation of frequency. So every time I find a part of myself that in the past I may have chosen to reject, but not now. Now I'm choosing acceptance and love. You have a purpose. There was a reason, right? And instead of judging or condemning, I am curious and I am loving and accepting. As we do that, we raise our frequency. Our status, if you will. The frequency raises. So the foundation is strong. There's your power. The frequency raises. There's your status. All right, so now let's look at outcomes for the moon in Pisces in the 10th house of what we put out into the world, our career, our reputation, and public standing. Spiritual outcome at this time, the nurturing of spirituality to ultimately experience your destiny. This is how we do it. It's the love and acceptance. It's the softening. This is what we are nurturing that right now. You're going to experience your destiny just through being present with yourself. Accepting that what if you grew and the only actions you really had to take was to love and accept yourself? It's a radical thought for some of us. But what if that was enough to grow you? We can contemplate that. Here's the thing. In this space, you start to really nurture something, and it's moving you towards that highest timeline, your ideal path, what you are desiring to become at your best, your highest level. You're already moving towards it, and this is the way to do it. Mental outcome at this time, feelings caused by trusting your psychic knowledge of where you are going. Oh, I love this one. Okay. The psychic knowledge of where we're going. No matter what the outside world is doing, no matter what it looks like, there's nowhere to go but up. And if you tune into yourself, if you shut every device off and just sit with yourself, listening to your heart, if you found the center of yourself, that still space, there is a profound sense of everything is okay in that side, inside that deep level. I love going there with people. Every time I do my telepathy classes on Insight Timer, which you're free to join, by the way. They are free to join. You just need the Insight Timer app, which is also free to download. But every time we do that class, we go through the levels and find that center. And I'm telling you, it is such a beautiful place to hang out, because it is your most psychic space. It is the heart, the seat of your soul, and the heart of your intuition. When you go in there, I'm sorry, I've never felt fear in there. I have never felt afraid. Nothing outside that is happening has ever shook that space. When you're in there, you know everything is okay and it's going to go just fine. There is no fear in there. And when you tap into that, especially this week, feels like there's a lot of feels. Maybe a deep sense of relief washes over you. Maybe a sense of such expanded love. Maybe the tears start flowing. That feeling is the truth. And it's so easy to convince ourselves that that's something else. That's the truth right there. Physical outcome at this time. Reactions resulting from the indecision of or about your career or what you put out in the world or your public standing or reputation. I get this one. We're in a sort of, the word that my team is jokingly using, and somebody somewhere will get this joke, is jelly baby. It's like gelatinous, unformed state. It's a jelly baby. Is that a UK thing? Because it's not an American thing. Jelly baby. Somebody in the comments, what's a jelly baby? Because my team is like, it's jelly baby. You're a jelly baby right now. Okay, we're a jelly baby. But what I'm getting from that is we're not fully formed yet. We're cooking. We're mid-transformation. It's gelatinous. It's not fixed. So, yeah, what you were and who you're becoming, you're in between the two. So the things that the previous version of you built up might be kind of like feeling wonky, like they're not solid. I get that. I really get that one. If you're feeling it too, I hope you know you're not alone. It's just a transitional space. So what I find is if we just are okay with that, and it's a practice, what you'll find is your needs are met and taken care of, even if it's not to the degree you'd like them to be, even if not things aren't moving in the direction that you have put a lot of time and effort in, and suddenly things are going pear-shaped on you. That's going to feel, part of the reason is because there's an old version of you and the things that you thought you wanted and who you were, and this new version of you and the things that they want and know you are. And some of these things don't line up. And what that can feel like in energy is indecision. So who are you going to be? Hustle and flow or ease and grace? Or it's like a hustle, 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 push, 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 or relax and allow, right? Those things like they don't quite go together. And when we're standing between the two, like we are, we're giving a little bit of each. It's like, I'm going to push, push, push. No, no, no. I'm going to back off and relax. Well, what that looks like in energy is sort of like, it's like stop, start, stop, start. Stuff doesn't flow the way you want it to flow right now. Part of it is because you are in between two different types of energy yourself, and you're not sure which one to commit to, because the old one still kind of works and the new one is still forming. And so it's like, which do I push? Do I allow? If I just try to allow, sometimes things don't feel like they're going through, so I go back to pushing, right? But when I push too hard, things stop working. And we're all in this sort of space of like, I don't know what to give it. So we give it a little of both. It's like, hey, I'm giving you a little of this energy and a little of that. Well, that doesn't look like a steady stream. And maybe in this little in-between jelly baby space, we don't have a steady stream. Maybe it is kind of like, where it just, it's moving, it's eking along, but it's just not flowing. So if you don't feel like you're in a flow state right now, please be gentle with yourself. There's something bigger at work here than you. There is literally you are the caterpillar becoming the butterfly, but you're still in the chrysalis and there's still a jelly. That's the jelly baby joke they're making. Okay. I swear to God, it's like a candy though too. But that's the jelly baby, is you're in your chrysalis. You've melted your caterpillar essence and you're forming your butterfly. The butterfly's not quite there yet. It's not ready. It's coming. It's coming. We just need to hold that space. Trust the chrysalis will hold us, right? But inside this space, it's like, I still got to live my life. I still got to pay my bills. I still got to make ends meet. I still have to have relationships or they fall apart. What do I do here? So we are in between the allowing and the pushing. And it's kind of an awkward space, but remember what you're growing into, and it is already going to happen. It's like a guaranteed deal. You're going to grow into this being. It's not if, it's when. And we just have to deal with, well, how long is when? And there's the question that if I could answer, I'd probably be a millionaire. I don't know if I could answer that question. I wish I knew when. All I can say is you're still in that state and we're all here together and it is a done deal. It's just a matter of when. And with that, I am sending you so much love.